patient has a procedure, she will be welcomed by the front desk. Identity will be checked through biometrics and also, as we said, the electronic noticing system through the RFID cards. Once she's identified, nurses are notified and then they will escort the patient through this way. So patient will change and she has a locker to keep her stuff, and then she will enter the recovery room. And then we go to the operating theater. So this is our operating theater. Now, the operating theater is normally connected with the lab through the pass box. This is normally used in cases of oocyte collection, for example. And for a procedure that requires our presence in the OT, we use this airlock system that directly links us with the lab for a procedure such as the embryo transfer, testicular biopsies, fine needle aspiration, and so on. Now, again, the clean room setup is also applied in the operating theater. This is whether it was the ceiling, the panels, everything is in the grade of clean room. All equipment are connected again to an electronic monitoring system that will always notify us in case of any abnormal. Welcome to our IVF lab. So the lab is divided into 3 departments: andrology, embryology, and the cryopreservation room. Let's start with the andrology. So this is our andrology lab. All equipment inside the lab are connected to an online monitoring system. In case any of the values of these machines or equipment goes out of range, we are immediately notified through a text message specifying the equipment and what kind of abnormality. In addition to that, we get inside the lab a light warning to indicate that there is something wrong inside the andrology lab. And also we have electronic witnessing system in order to ensure the identity of the patient. So all samples, they have one tag that works with the RFID. And whenever we utilize this sample within any work area, immediately the identity of the patient is displayed on the screen. In case we bring a sample of another couple, the system will block, we will get an alarm, and it will not allow us to perform the procedure. So unless we remove the samples, we specify the reason for this mismatch. And also, in order to ensure that the sample stays in, let's say, safe conditions, there is direct link between the andrology and the semen collection room. Once the patient finishes giving the sample, they will display the sample in a specific place, and immediately we will be notified through a light inside the lab, a green light that shows that the patient has finished and we can collect the sample. So this is our embryology lab. Now, we know that oocytes and embryos are extremely sensitive. For that reason, we invested a lot in all resources in order to optimize the conditions inside this lab. This includes the air quality and also the equipment we use. We use only stainless steel with a specific grade, class 2 biosafety cabinets to perform all the procedures, and different type of incubators. So the first type of incubator we have is the time-lapse incubator. We know that time-lapse incubator are extremely important in IVF labs because they give us information that normally we cannot get from different type of incubators. Why is that? Because each embryo has a camera that takes a picture every 10 or 15 minutes. Now, after 5 or 7 days of culture, you will have hundreds of pictures that you can display as a video, and you will be able to identify some embryo behaviors that you cannot identify or see using the normal microscope. The other type of incubators we have are the benchtop incubators. These are extremely stable. You can, you have one chamber, separated chamber for each patient. You can control the temperature, the gases, and also continuous monitoring of the pH. And finally, we have the large box humidified incubators that are extremely important and useful for media preparation and tube preparation for culture. Now we do a lot of PGTA cycles. So we have 2 stations that both of them are equipped with a specific laser. And we like to have these working stations inside the biosafety cabinet in order to, again, ensure that we are providing the best air quality for the samples. Now, we know in IVF, patient identity is extremely important. And to error is human, we can all make mistakes. So it's our responsibility to use and utilize whatever resources are available in order to ensure the safety of samples. For that reason, we invested in electronic witnessing systems. So all biological samples from the moment we receive the oocytes until we do the embryo transfer, including the cryopreservation, even if it was for years, the samples will be tracked using a chip. This chip is connected to a system. Whenever you use these samples in any surface inside the lab, the identity will be displayed. Now, if by mistake you brought a sample for a different patient at the same working station, the system will block, you will get an alarm, and it will not stop unless you remove one of these samples. And we also said that the air quality is extremely important. So in addition to the potassium permanganate, active carbon filters, HEPA filters that we have in the air handling unit, we also invested in systems that utilizes other technologies such as the PCO, the photocatalytic oxidation, that again, it reduces the levels of VOCs inside the air, which if present in high levels can affect embryo development. So embryo transfer procedure is an extremely delicate and sensitive procedure. In order to minimize the time where we have the embryos outside of the incubators, from the moment we do the loading inside the catheter until we give it for the physicians or we perform the transfer itself, we have created this airlock system between the IVF lab and the OT. So we maintain the correct and needed pressure, and at the same time, we reduce the time. So I will show you. Following the loading, we immediately go to the operating theater through this airlock direct system. So from the moment you do the loading until you reach the operating theater, it takes only a few seconds. We believe that these small adjustments will increase or will improve the outcomes, and our patients deserve that we put all the effort that we can in order to optimize their chances. This is our cryopreservation room. So all the sperm samples, gametes, and embryos are stored in this room. We can see that these are the liquid nitrogen tanks. Each tank has a sensor that continuously measures the temperature. It's connected to our online monitoring system. So in case there is leakage, dry out in any of these tanks, temperature will go up, we will be immediately notified so that we can take direct action. In addition to that, we have in this room an oxygen sensor. So again, in case there is any leakage in one of the tanks, the oxygen levels will go down. Again, the system will notify us. We will get an alarm inside the lab, and also we will receive a text message specifying the levels of oxygen inside this room. So today we've taken you into a tour in our clinic in Dubai. Now I'm sitting in the counseling room. We believe that providing couples with counseling during the stimulation or during the treatment is extremely important. This support and the information provided for the couples is extremely important, because we know that the process of treatment is, let's say, emotional and also can cause some stress for the couples. That's why our professional and specialized counselors provide information, explanation, and most importantly, support to the patients during the treatment.